All right. And then I tell you, shift things a day, and I feel like I forgot half of what we do. It's so funny when you get out of practice. Oh, all right, Cynthia. Well, welcome. And see, and Marie, we'll have you just keep. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So backing up to kind of housekeeping, since we have some new people. Let's say I'm going to share my screen in a moment, but we have everyone. And Cherie is my mom. This is all her fault. That's our joke, because it is. She's the one that has art education. I don't. So we have fun and we'll do things a little different. I think I'm gonna work on this on a Renaissance tile.
Okay, and I'll work on a white one.
Okay, and so it's fun. Oh, and I forgot when we come again, we'll have to look at. I want to see about focusing the camera because it's a little out of focus. And I don't know if it's just the camera. It could be just the nature of it.
Well, I noticed if I go to the right or left, it kind of.
Yeah, because it's like these things autofocus, so it's just hard to tell, and yeah. So
we do the best we can.
That's right. That exactly. And
I thought it was my eyes.
No. Because I see mine in the small mic, because in the way I'm seeing the screen, mine's in the small box. Oh, and then to let everyone know too, if you want to see, either one of ours bigger, you just click on or double click or tap, depending on what kind of a platform you're using on whatever whoever picture you want to see bigger, and it'll blow that one up, and then you like click or tap it again, and it'll go back to normal. And when we do the when we have everyone that wants to get on and open up the webcam, then you can do that as well. But what I'll do is I'll get a screenshot, then I'll share my screen again, and so everybody can see everybody's. And because it's really hard to see when you're holding your work up to the camera in front of the screen usually.
But definitely click on Heather's to make hers bigger.
No, click on Mom's to make hers. Now all of a sudden yours looks more in focus there. So
I see what you mean. It's blurry.
Yeah,
and there's a Patty on that has her camera still on.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. So we have everyone leave their cameras off. That's what I was saying. My mom is a co-host, so so we leave all of the other cameras off, and the mic's muted just because background noise. And sometimes I'll go through and just make sure if I'm hearing, I see we have somebody.
Francine Stell has her mic on.
Okay, yes, and I can fix that as well. And it's just, like you said, it's just for background noise and for everyone's enjoyment. And then too, using the chat for, just using the chat in general, because a lot of times with the bandwidth, it's broken up. And then because we have people from all over, sometimes it's hard to understand because of microphones, bandwidth. And then if we have an accent, I will also try to not talk as fast as I normally do
Yeah, Heather, because your accent really messes everybody up.
And it changes from time to time, just depends, if we
you slip back into your Missouri accent.
That's right. Sometimes if I'm around it, then it happens. It just pops out. And I had somebody once when I was working customer service on the phone say they thought I was like from Minnesota, and I'm like, oh well, okay. And so apparently I've never really been there, or to the UP, or where you might have more of that accent, but it's just really funny. All right, so like I said, I'm going to share my screen, and so that's just the housekeeping, and it's one of those for everyone's enjoyment. And we'll keep an eyeball on the chat. I know we have, so many nice regulars that also keep an eyeball, which I appreciate. All right, so let me share. So with no further ado, and let me get to mine. All right, this little notice can go away. I just want to get rid of that bottom thing. Well, this is it, but I wanted to show the instructions first. Media, there we go. Let's put it in a new box so it's all by itself. Okay, so, and I'm just going to call it Arukas. Maybe that's, I haven't really read the story, and maybe there is something to that. I don't know. But so this one starts off with a simple orb. And I'm thinking, like, even in my example, maybe I needed to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know. This is one of those where, oh yeah, let me mute that chat chime if I can. I might have to do it in a minute. Yeah, let me do that in a minute after I get the screen share off. Oh, sure. Then I can't find my way back. Oh, thanks, Sharon. Yeah, that makes sense. Sakura spelled backwards. Arukas. It's reading and knowing the stories is fun and important. All right, so we're starting off with an orb. Then we're going to draw, some sets of lines, some aura lines around it. And then we're going to alternate. It's alternating aura-ing. So we start with the orb, then we draw the straight lines. Then we aura the orb here in box 3 using the Hollabal technique. And so for those that are new, I will explain that, which is essentially drawing behind. And then we go back to aura-ing the straight lines. And then we go back and aura the orb, and we'll just go back and forth. And then excuse me. Oh, okay, Inez. And then what happens is we end up with this really amazing tangle. Let me share with you then too. Okay, this is from the Zentangle newsletter where it was announced, and I will put this link in as well. And and I love having the story, and I also like and it is true, it's a beautiful, versatile, and most importantly forgiving tangle. Most of them are, but yeah, as you can see, so this shows their step out. But then what I really wanted to show was the then have fun part, which is how you could use it. So this, first tile is again using the Hollabal technique and just combining a bunch of them. And you would start off with the orbs. Oh, Sandy, great. Yeah, we think that the internet is just blowing up with online Black Friday sales and all of that kind of thing. But and it's in here decorating, filling in some of the lines using we'll call it the shine technique, and I can explain that. Doing a different shape even, and I share these so that way you can decide how you want to do it. Oh, I like this in the middle. This is done with a square, and that is interesting. So yeah, so it doesn't have to be an orb. Like here we have a losing the term for the 5-sided thing, penta something. I don't know if
it's just a pentagon.
Pentagon.
Yeah.
I had pentagram in my head. And I'm like, I know that's not right. That's the star thing, Yes, the pentagon. Oh, well, you know what? Thank you. Let me stop it and start it again. It was still going. All right. It sounded like, yeah. So hopefully, there we go. Hopefully that helps and you can see that. But I will put this link in the chat so that way you have it. And then to see, even, extra work done. So like in that center, you can add some tangles. In between the sections, you can add, textures or tangles, just, anything that you want to do. It's just really, really neat. All right. So let me go back and stop this and put that in the chat. Okay. And then really quick, let me see if I can turn off those. Well, I don't have entry and exit chimes enabled. Well, interesting. I'm not seeing. I'll have to ask them. I don't see anything on the chat chimes, but I notice on my own that it's only when I'm not on the screen so when I'm doing the screen share, then I hear the chimes. All right. So I will look into that for sure for next time, Zelda, just to see if that can be done, and if not, then they can tell me how to do it. Okay. So where to put the orb? And so this will be interesting to see if anybody decides to do something other than an orb, and feel free. And this is so fun is afterwards seeing what everybody ends up doing. And I had some thoughts in my head about decorating. And then now after re-looking, I had it in my head and I wasn't looking at the thing. I'm like, well, I will see if it'll work or not. I'm going to kind of try to do mine more in the center. And a bigger orb than I think. All right, then. And and I'm also thinking it probably doesn't matter how many spokes you have coming out. So you just, pick where you want to, mine's a little off where I want to put my first one. Okay. So so just picking anywhere on the orb that you want. So now I'm thinking, okay, how far up are these? These go as far as you want them to go. I'm going to go all the way to the end, because I wanted this to just kind of fill up the whole space. And so this is essentially an aura when we do the second one. So for those that are new, and it's just outlining. If it's a curved line, then we work to match the contour, and it's just you pick a distance and go with it. All right, I'm going to try to do 5. And what I like is when I draw one line, then if I decide that that it's too far one way or the other, then you can aura on either side.
I thought that was my trick that I knew, Heather, because I just did that. Wait a minute.
I probably stole it from you. It's just a nice kind of safety. All right. And 2, this is also a nice one. Leslie, that's so funny. That as much as I wanted to have these spokes so it looks like something else, then you just don't have to worry about it. And this is a good one for the working to get rid of worrying about the outcome as you're doing it. It's like, just, draw spokes wherever you want, and then work to not worry about it. All right, then we have our aura-ing the orb. So we did aura, spokes. Now we're going to go back to the aura, but we're only going to do in between the spokes that we have. What I found is if I'm picturing or using the Hollabal technique, and I'll just demonstrate that, so for those that are new to Zentangle. So so here I'm aura-ing the orb, and I've come to this set of lines. I pick up my pen, I kind of travel it across, put it down on the other side, and then continue. This, because it's an orb and it's kind of big, I have to turn my tile at the same time. But usually it's it's just a continuous thought, if you will. Yeah, like some of those aren't exactly well, it is what it is, and that's okay. All right, so then once you've aura'd the orb, then we're gonna aura the spokes again, and it's just find a place to start, and then we're starting right from the the last line that's been drawn and going up. Let's see. And then and then of course on either side, and so turn your tile or your paper as you need to. I keep going back and forth as because I really like to not have my pen covering what I'm auraing, even though it still will end up okay. But there it's just funny because some things I like, some curves I don't worry about, but like doing it like this where my pen is over, I don't know why. It still works all right. But I share that so that way for everyone's who's like, why she keep moving her paper? That's why. And it is a tangle thing. You want your hand to be comfortable and and be able to see. All right. There we go. All right. So then once you've gone once around, then it's back to aura-ing the orb. And same thing. So we're not crossing any lines on this tangle. There's only a few where, the tangle has you crossing over lines, but generally seems like we don't do that. We use the Hollabal technique to work underneath. And I think my other challenge is also paying attention to the fact that it's like, okay, I've gone once around, because I did catch myself a couple of times playing with it where I was like, oh, and I'm just going to keep continuing around. It's like, no, that's not how this one works. So I think that's, besides just, watching the pen and, so that way, watching the pen, going slow, so that way, you can ensure that you're, as much as possible that, we like our lines. It's paying attention to make sure that we haven't gone crazy. Although I suppose that could be a tangulation, couldn't it? Oh, and you did lots of spokes. And then the challenge that I had, and I don't know if you've done this one before, is when to stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember doing it once when it first came out, but I probably haven't done it since then. Which kind of leads you to believe that I didn't really like doing it.
and all of a sudden my brain is I'm spelling Hollabal on the, I think it's with an I. It's an actual tangle, by the way, and it's I'm sure everyone else is, maybe not, maybe it's just me. I am weird. Where like you write a word too many times, or I'll start thinking, and the couple of them that it happens to a lot is from, and I'm like, is that even right?
Oh.
And
I went through a stage where the word with, like you go with somebody, it never looked right when I would write it. And I kept thinking, that is stupid. It's a 4-letter word. Why can't I spell it?
Oh, good. It's not just me. Or like of. And I'm like, it sounds like it's not a V, but why does that just, like, all of a sudden, why does that just look weird? Oh, it's so funny. All right.
I had that problem with actor last night.
Oh, so funny. So funny. But yeah, and actually, so this is so silly. Let me flip back, because I'm going to flip back. I'm going to share my screen again really quick, because I didn't point this out, because so here's Hollabal. This is how you spell it. And Molly is Maria's daughter, and so I think it was her husband that came up with Hollabal, the tangle. But so it's just really funny when you've seen the tangles first, and then you realize it's somebody's name afterwards. It's just like, that's just odd. And like Huggins is the other daughter, and is it
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Martha?
Martha.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Martha.
Yeah. And that's her last name, and I think that's her Tangle. So anyway, it's just funny. Oops, let's get rid of that. But yeah, that's a Tangle in and of itself. Let's see. And if you ever stop, like I just, it's like, okay, well, where am I at? Oh, looks like I finished them all. Because one way you can see is like, well, what's the last thing? It's like, okay, looking at all of my orb auras, it's like, okay, those are all. I have the and actually it looks like steps almost. Okay, I've ordered all the spokes, so now I'm back to the orb. And I will say this: you can stop whenever you want. That's something else too. I'm gonna take this till I can't do them anymore, because then you get the neat shape that it creates from these aura'd from the aura'd orb. And so it is, yeah. So yeah, it is a neat tangle. It is, yeah, one of those two where like even I know we did, yeah, aura not aura not too long ago. Move my thing up. And that was one too that I just seemed to have a challenge with, but playing with it and practicing it helps. And I think doing it on here helps, because then we see all of this amazingness that everybody does, and then it's like, oh, I could do that. Oh.
And they need to join us tonight so they can try those other new things that they see.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, Sandy. Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. It is very Art Deco.
I was thinking that earlier too. Yes, it is.
We're all on the same wavelength. And I wonder, and then too, you can play kind of with that concept, because I'm almost picturing, because I like to do my auras small, and then too, from looking at the examples, the space in between the lines is thin. But what if? Oh, maybe we'll try that tonight. I think I will. Making it thicker. I just seem to have this standard distance that I do, and now I'm looking to see where I am. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I am obviously on doing the spokes. I've done that one. That one's sitting on top. That one is sitting on top. It's really, maybe I went. Oh no. I think maybe I went all the way around. No.
That's what I'm sort of having to put my finger at the one I start at, so that I can remember.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm doing is but wait. Counting. Oh no, I was back on the orbs, because I'm looking at this one has 4 on the orb and the rest have 3. So I went ahead over here and jumped. So that's what I do. So when I stop, let's see.
See, my straight lines have run into each other so much that there are places where you can't see the orb.
Yeah. And let me just type here. Cynthia, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is an orb. Let's see. And for those that do, yeah, so we say orb instead of saying circle, because circle carries too much pressure to do it perfect. So
it's just roundish.
Roundish.
An orb sounds so much more sophisticated.
Yes, it does. But yeah, that's what. So yeah, as I'm stopping and starting, so that's it's like, okay, count the number of auras this way, and then I'm looking to see, well, what's on top, and that's where I was like, oh, okay. So if you have to, come back, okay, so I have before. This is where I started here. Okay. Now I feel like I'm back on track. And it seems like, you know, it's one of those where you could stop wherever you want. And then, you know, once you have no more room for auraing the orb, then I mean, it was like you could just keep going. And I think that's what you're doing on yours, Mom. Is to move it up towards the
yes,
so you could do that. Yeah. Well, although, and Sandy's saying shaky hands aren't conducive to straight lines. No, I think that then it looks then more interesting. Because if you did that, it's kind of like doing mist or anything. But if you do whatever you do it consistently.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Consistently shaky.
Yeah.
And that works.
Yeah. And yeah, Carlos asking, guessing it's okay to do each spot with a different number of auras. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, depending on a couple things, where you put, you know, the orb to begin with, because you might finish, like, as you can see, like Mom has kind of finished up towards I'm pointing at my screen like you can see.
That's what I do too.
Well, here, let me put my step out underneath. So like when there's no more room up here, it's like, well, then there's just no more room up here, and then you can continue down here. And I like what you're doing there, Mom, doing that. That's a neat idea. You know, or if you think I want to just stop here and add something else, then you can. And that the beauty of Zentangle is, while we have these step outs, which are the instructions for doing for making the tangle, you still kind of make it your own, you know, and add levels of customization. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Seeing where did I? Oh, that one's on top. That okay. I'm back to the spokes because yeah. And what's fun about all of that is that it's just yours, whatever it is. And that's why, you know, I like to show the examples. I like to show multiple examples. So, you know, everyone can be inspired by whatever inspires them and, you know, and grab those ideas. But we're not trying to emulate something else. And so, you know, there's no pressure as far as that goes. And it just makes it extra fun. Well, that one was interesting. I was actually picturing having like a ribbon weaving through afterwards.
And that one example had a spiral, or a printaw spiral in the middle that sort of gave that idea.
Oh yeah. Yeah, interesting. Yes, interesting is interesting. But yeah, you know, yeah. So we try not to worry about it. Like, yeah, so if you got the shaky hands, just go with it.
I read or it was posted on. It might have been a Zentangle newsletter or something one time, where somebody wrote in and that they had or they knew someone who had Parkinson's, which is usually they have, you know, tremors in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
But they were doing Zentangle, and as soon as their pen touched the paper, the tremors would stop. Now, that doesn't mean that would happen with everybody.
No, but
with this particular person, that's what was happening. And, you know, it was wonderful.
Well, I noticed, you know, working at, you know, doing some things at some senior facilities, Well, and actually, I think that they noticed, from the beginning to because we were doing it for quite a few months, and they themselves noticed difference, and I think it's just getting the focus. I think two things: getting the focus on the hand and going slow, and then also not worrying about it.
Yeah, that's a major thing. And a lot of people can't get past that point.
Yeah.
And it's very important to you just don't worry about it. It's just
right.
a piece of paper.
Right.
That you spent hours working on.
Right.
But it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm gonna because I want to have these it's like I have a couple places that have come to a point, sort of, and I noticed one where it's like, oh well, I didn't follow the patterns in a couple places, but I'm gonna just continue these places that were thicker, and then two. So like, and then here's a thought: if you get to here, it's like I want these two to kind of end like these ones. And so I'm just going to focus on this one and then do, alternating, just focusing on this one space by itself and not going all the way around. It's always good to go all the way around, to some point, but sometimes then it's like because of what it's like, because of this is what I want to do here. It's like, well, that would be silly to go here, then go here, then go here, then go here. Maybe one more. Anyways, as I'm doing it, I'm somewhat paying attention to the auraing of the orb, because it's like, well, it makes its own, neat shape that you don't realize till you have more of them. And then I'm like, wow, how can I? Because some of them, of course, look different. And it just depends on how well or not I did the the auraing. And then I try to think of, well, how could I have some extra fun with that, or if I get something in my head that's like, oh, I'd like it to look this way. How will I do that? Okay. Okay, maybe one more. There. And put yours up a little bit, Mom, because I wanted to see. Yeah, that's right. We all get working, and we're like, and we just pull it back to ourselves. I have to keep checking. No, because I wanted it. So I like what you did, and we didn't talk about it. So typically, if you take a Zentangle, I hate the word beginner. Everybody has their different term. I call it my Zentangle Essentials, and what we do in the tile is, when we're starting, is we put 4 corner dots, then we make a border, and that's what Mom did here. And I think yours looks like a present,
sort of,
and and then what's fun is it's up to you if you want to stay within those pencil lines or not. And those are, at the beginning we do those in pencil, and that's generally what we do. That's all we do in pencil until we get to the shading part. And it just looks really, really neat. And we do it light, so that way it doesn't show up a lot. But we just don't. It's one of those we just don't worry about. It gets us working on the paper. But you actually,
and then we never take an eraser. And,
we never
erase the ones.
Don't look at her. Don't look at what I saw a post. I think it was on one of the Zentangle things, and they said eraser, and I've seen that. Well, I did this in pencil first. It's like no. but don't look at what she's doing. But
No.
see, well, but there are other options that one could do. One could, there's lots of options.
Well, at least I'm showing that I'm doing it. I could have gone over here.
Whatever you want to do is okay. There's no such thing as Zentangle police.
White jelly roll.
Yeah, white jelly roll, that could work.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked on these corners, but it's okay.
Right.
Oh, I love it when I just go over just a little bit and it's like, oh no, and then it's, oh wait.
Oh yeah.
I grab the jelly roll pen and I just put a dot there and it just all blends in together.
Yeah, actually I have a place like that right here.
Yeah. So there are tools and it's okay.
Look at that. It just fixed it. Perfectly.
And the thought behind it, for those that are new, is just it's the not worrying about it. And it's just, to be in the because Zentangle was created to be a way to teach meditation through art. So that's why it's generally, black, white shades of gray. So that way there's less worrying about it. And then we just expand it. We've got different color tiles. We added paper and all that. Okay, Inez. And, and it's just fun in whatever you want to do with it. And it will just end up amazing regardless. And I like how, you took the one, I don't know what we call it, the orb part, and well, actually, because I just seeing on the thicker one, and then continued those behind. That looks really. I didn't see that before. I just saw it working.
Some of them going all the way off the tile, and then some of them going.
Yeah.
Like under.
Yeah. So for some shading ideas, as we're getting towards the time here, so I'd say that center piece is just screaming to be, either a water drop or a gem. But once you have it the way you want it, and I always end up having to really finish mine afterwards, is and let's see, and I think you did. Oh no, wait, you did shading on the insides of these.
Of the orbs.
What do we call that? Okay, Demi. And that's it for those that are seeing on the chat. We will do this tonight as well.
Your orbs look like a star. Yeah. I just continued bands out, and that's what I mainly auraed, because my little auraing of the orbs was almost too tiny to shade on either side, but yours gives a great advantage to just do a little on either side. Well, that isn't what I meant, but that's okay. I meant to make the that's one way to do it. Right. I meant to aura your orb bands to make them look rounded.
Right.
But you're working on a Renaissance tile, so you have the advantage of being able to use some white and that might just do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you use a little white down the middle of each one of those, the orb, yes, I think that would look very interesting, Heather.
Well, and I'm thinking too, so I'm putting some heavy graphite. Well, actually, it didn't start out so heavy, but then as we were talking,
you can go back and add.
Yeah, I'm going to put some. I'm going heavy around because I still could put some graphite on the edges, just not as heavy as this, because I wanted.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I did. I did real heavy around my border because I wanted to see the border, and then on my bands, I just did it a little bit lighter, so it's just barely there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. And it really needs a gem.
Yes, and I think I'm going to do that in here, so that'll be a little bonus. So so now, for everyone, let's see. Okay, yeah, so I put graphite, and like I said, I went heavy on the outside of these, so that way it's popping. It'll pop this whimsical star type shape, out of that, and then. And then I'm using the tortillon to just spread it out a little bit. Actually, it's interesting how it makes it a little bit darker sometimes. And when we get done with that, then we'll play with the insides.
Mine look like saucers.
Mine looks like a sort of like a bullseye target when I look at it a certain way. So.
All right. Oh, so yeah, it's just interesting.
This is just a suggestion, Heather. Now you've gone with the graphite on your beginning lines on 3 of them, but 2 of them you didn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it looks. Yes, now it looks. That's.
Yeah,
because it looks anchored.
Yeah, and I said, should I leave it? I don't know. All right.
Yes,
so then, and then I'm just kind of. I don't like having what looks like a straight line, so that's what I'm doing. Okay.
I would, if this is just a suggestion, your diamond shape, your triangular shapes that are left around.
Yeah.
I would do those on the inside. So it looks like those bands of lines are raised from the.
Yeah. So like here, I would put some graphite.
Yes.
Well, let's just show everyone how to do that. Okay, Rosemary. We'll see you next time. All right. So so for those that don't. So it's like for those that have challenges shading. So a couple of things, I don't know. I like to just empower people, everyone to be able to, I don't know, feel free to like, oh, I'll try this. And I guess because this is how I've thought it in my head is like, okay, first place is, you can do it is where something kind of looks like it meets. So like here, where these lines are sort of meeting this, that's a good place to tangle, or to shade on your tangle.
Yeah, and for those that are new in Zentangle, the shading has nothing to do with the light source like it does in art. It's just a means of making a certain part pop or separate it from other parts. And it's just amazing what it does, and you should just try it.
I always say that.
Oh, I like that.
Dark makes it go down. I'm trying to remember what I've heard Rick say. It was a lot more. It made a lot more sense than what I say. It goes down, but it does. It makes it recede or go down.
Tunnel vision.
So yeah, because I think of when it's just the paper, it's one dimensional, and then if you add shading, then it makes two dimensions. Kind of going up and down, and then if we add the white, which I will, that adds another one.
Yeah, I'm anxious for that.
Okay, so then, here's what I'll do. And and in the one example, they talked about the shine, or I mentioned it because so they had some that was where it was colored in, and this is similar to doing that. I usually will start with my pen and I'll just doing it with a pen. You leave, like, say, the center open with whatever your natural tile color is, and then you would color in to each side. It's like doing shading with the pen. But so I'm going to, and then I might have to come back and clean those.
Yeah, you're gonna have to redo your.
Because even if I go like this,
gosh, Heather,
same thing.
Wait till you look at it.
It just went.
Whoa.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So then it's like, if I go get Tone's paper, and it's one of those. This is tan, but it can work the same on gray.
I'm regretting picking white paper today.
Yeah, so if you're working on white paper, that's why I mentioned if you wanted to do where, and I'm just going to use this as a pointer, like I said, you would fill in both sides. I like to leave it ragged on the inside just so that way it looks more like a shine.
Yeah, if you're working on white paper, you could fill that whole little thing in lightly with graphite.
Mm-hmm.
And then come back with the white charcoal or the white jelly roll and add your add your highlight. But
oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
You just have to.
It's just sort of like when you do what do you call it? I can't think of it. Cubine, where you take one of the sections and you shade it completely. You know, not lighter or darker, just solid. But you could do that in those little sections. Oh, Heather, that looks wonderful.
That looks neat.
It looks like it's totally floating above the rest.
Yeah, and that's just amazing. It really. All right, so then, okay, bonus in our 5 minutes we have left. Let's see. I think. Yeah, well, you could think. Yeah, Carla's saying, you know, if you're used to shading and drawing, you could think of it as shading, you know, with a light source being on top. Well, and there's nothing wrong with thinking about the light source.
It's just that you don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm going to do my attempt at making a water drop. So I've just put some of that was the chalk pencil that I have used so much that you can't see the words anymore. And then we'll put some graphite. I was thinking of a color, but I'm like, well, we'll just stay with this. And then I do this is the way I would do hair on a stick person, just around on the inside, sort of. And let's see if we can make this look like it's something. And let me make mine bigger. Oh, it's like, and it's just so funny because I can't really see the. That looks glowy as it is. So I do like putting the
reflections.
Yeah, it does. Like, come on, it's
don't brush it with your hand. Oh, is that a brush?
I got this little.
Oh, yeah, that works.
And it works pretty well. But yeah, it's kind of looks glowy. And so, and I do have a video on gems. I rewatched it. I'm like, I really need to redo that. Let me get well. Let's see. Will it work with this one? Let me. I want to get my.
Well, somebody can do a pearl in the center. Maybe
yeah.
Maybe
well, Rosemary left. We'll have to wait and see what Rosemary does. She does such amazing. There's some others too. I mean, and it's not, and she has even put, it's not necessarily that hard. And if I can do it, by golly, anyone can do it.
I sort of notice when I've looked at people who do pearls, instead of having just the light reflection like you're going to do, like little eyebrows, there tends to be, they tend to do like two circles, one bigger one on one side and then a smaller one on the other. Just by looking at it, but that's very
voila,
good.
Anybody can make it happen. And then sometimes then I play with how it's coming down in, but yeah, putting the white jelly roll in the dark space seems and sometimes where it's darkest, but then at the same time I've seen some other ones where it's like doesn't seem to matter.
So Sanam is asking about your other classes and where to find them. So you might.
Well, I'm glad that you had enough fun that you want to join us again. Teasing. No, so I do. Today's is on Friday because of our Thanksgiving. Oh, you said you were in DC, so you understand. But generally these are on Thursdays and. Thank you, Jen. Jen put in the link for classes, so you can look there. But if you say, there's also places if you want to follow for when I post some of the extra stuff. But generally every Thursday, this time, and then I have one I do at 7 p.m. my time, which if you're in DC is the same. It's Eastern time, and then we have a lot that will come to both and just have extra fun because.
And then you do some special Tuesday ones once a month.
Once a month, yeah. We do a special
Tuesday.
Generally the third Tuesday. Then I have some that I do that I charge for, so that way I can keep the lights on, keep myself in pens, and those are generally like towards the end of the month, and they're $25, or if you want to become a Tangle Addicts Club member, I'm still
next Tuesday is a paid one or a club.
Yeah, is a paid one.
They're usually extra special.
Yeah, something a little bit more in depth, and I don't think I have I should, and I'm so not good at promoting because I don't even have like a little sampling thing here, but you can see it on my. Oops.
Patty's asking if you can review what you did in the center.
Oh yes, I will. So, and then I was bringing in the graphite a little bit because it's like the white, it looks nice, but I still kind of want it to round. So here's what I did. I started. Oh, here, I'll do it on the back. Quickie demo. All right, and then we'll have everyone open up their webcams. Okay, so you have an orb.
Push it up a little bit, Heather. Yeah, that's
there
good.
we go. Okay, so we have an orb, and then I do this with colored pencils also. It just gives a different look. Oh, here's my white, and then I just kind of pick a place and put some white. This can kind of act like a resist. I don't know, not so much necessarily with the graphite, a little bit. Or I mean,
yeah,
the chalk
when you use the colored pencils, it definitely acts like a resist.
Yeah, exactly. And I do that. I try to remember to do it first because that is like that you have less chances to goof up. And then
what tool is the white?
What's that?
What did you use for the white?
Oh, so the white is a General's chalk pencil.
Thank you.
But you can also use, a white colored pencil as well. They're like waxy.
Yeah, they're a little different because they're different consistency, but the results might be sort of the same.
Yeah. Well, and my process is essentially the same. So I kind of go dark on, and this is the interior of the orb or whatever shape you're doing. I kind of go dark and then just a little bit light in between here. And then using the tortilla, actually I could probably go a little bit. And then using the tortillon, I start in the dark and, to get it to spread. And then I'm working it into the white. And I'm using our Zentangle hand tiles are so
they're soft.
Yeah. That's why I keep blowing the stuff off. And then just working it in. And so now it looks glowy. And then you can play with, well, how far in, how big of a glow. Because I've seen some gorgeous things that are, almost transparent. So it's like a little hint. But what I found was then using, this is a Jelly Roll 10. And then I started off just doing eyebrows like I did here. So it was, I picked just the place that I want to. When I said it here, I was thinking I could do the other, but I will do the eyebrow. So, and I'm kind of going opposite. So I start with a straight line and then a curved line and then the other curved line that meets it. Like so. And then just filling it in. And then I've seen some where they just had some extra dots, or a line. But like Mama said, sometimes they're just putting, a swoosh and that's it. Just a curved line.
And so that's just supposed to be like the reflection of a window or something on the thing. Yeah.
Because like I said, like some are it's just a straight line, but so it just depends on the look that you want, and we'll see. And then if you get real fancy, and bye Marie, because like some of the tutorials I've seen where they add, like something like underneath this other side, but then that's where I kind of go, it's a little too much like art. But it's like, but then again, if I figure it out, yeah, that does look lucky. Well, no, it does look like it's sitting on it, I suppose, on something, but I usually leave that part out, and then we'll do something around the outside. If I was doing them kind of by themselves, and actually that's something that's a feature of the thing that we're doing on Tuesday, is that we put orbs in, so we'll be focusing on that quite a bit. But that's the basics of it, and you know, it's like, and you too can make neat looking gems and just play with it, because then you can add in the little, you know, extra, if you wanted to add in the little cracks. You know, you can add in cracks with a pencil or a pen. It has to be a little bit. There you can kind of see. It's just
that's more effective with the color, because
yeah, it is. This it just looks like, oh, what did you got a little smush in there. You know.
But you could easily rub that out. Yeah, see,
Exactly.
look at that.
It disappears. But yeah, just a lot of fun. And then, you know, adding especially with colored pencils. Although I suppose you could get a neat effect with the chalk pencils. But you can, you know, add in color so you can make things look like opals or, you know, just anything. And it's just, it's just really neat. But it doesn't take much to be able to have add that neat look, you know, that we see often. So I want to see what everybody did. So we're a little bit over. So if you want to open up your webcams and we can see. Oh, and don't worry about it, Leslie. Oh, these are gorgeous. Oh, I like to see. And then who is this? Alyssa's, you know, using, I'm going to guess maybe, chalk pencils or whatever to do shading. Doesn't have to be the graphite. Oh, these are gorgeous.
I like Inez's square.
Oh, yeah. And look at all that shine on there. It looks like it's glass.
It does.
Oh, my gosh. And I like, I love them all. They are so amazing. Oh, and say, oh, I like Leslie. Yeah, so then this is what I love. So and I like Francine did a square also and colored in some of those auras. How neat are these? And I said, and Leslie's did a wider aura around the orb.
Oh, I like that. That gives really an Art Deco-y look.
Yeah. All right, so hold them up. I'll take a screenshot, and then I'll share the screenshot so that way everybody can see everybody's. And, okay. Oh, hold on steady 1 second. All right, let me make sure I got it, and I got the names. I did. Okay. So, so that way, I will share my screen. And, oops, and who am I hearing? These are awesome. Awesome. Oh, let me mute some just for a minute here, so that way we can. So I'm hearing some scrapies. Okay, let me do. Where is it? Screen share. Share. There we go. But these are amazing. And and adding the print humps, and then Deb adding the orbs in between.
Well, I'm just looking at that screen share. Mine really looks blurry.
Yeah, it is just a little bit. Well, we'll have to just play and see. Yeah. Okay, Tammy. Yeah, and sometimes I know that depending on bandwidth, it won't start the webcam because it'll do voice as the primary or something. So. But yeah, and I said, if you want to email me, I'll put my email in the chat. It's heather@tangleaddicts.com. But
Heather, look at yours in the screen chat now.
It looks amazing. Wow.
Doesn't it?
Wow.
We always say that they always look better not in person, on the screen or in the mirror.
Right, exactly. And then it looks like you're using unless you were just starting I like the extra color, like using a stain tile or something like that. That's extra fun. How neat are these? But yeah. Oh, let me see. Debbie's. Oh, that does kind of look like Perk. I was thinking it was just orbs in between, on every other line. That will have to. Well, she didn't leave yet. I'll have to type. And then I like Jen's with. I like all of them. Well, no, and CD did it too, where those initial lines are highlighted.
I was kind of scared off by doing multiple ones like Jen did.
Yeah, and Shulamit did too. Look at that.
My brain was not quite ready to handle that, but that's beautiful.
And
Well,
Shulamit
a
looks
lot
like
of them.
little pumpkins.
Diane did multiple. Margaret did multiple.
Way more courageous than me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Alyssa
We
too.
had pumpkin pie.
Well, thanks, Anne. We'll see you next time. Yeah. Well, and two, and saying Zelda did sort of it's I'm trying to tell. It looks like more of the pentagon shape, but I like those with having aura in those corners.
I actually wanted a star shape, so I'm going to have to copy yours later, Heather.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah. That ensures it. Okay, so can't see background. Leftover. How neat! Leftover gel plate.
Yeah, you're going to have to do a thing. I've talked to you about me wanting to do a class at OPC with just prepping paper.
Yes, yeah,
different methods of putting color on paper and then tangling them or whatever. I've never messed with the gel plates thing, but
we might have to do that.
Yeah, but I really like the wine staining, and we could all have our own glasses of wine and then spill some and sip some.
Oh, thanks, Cassie. But yeah, these are all amazing. And I'd say that for those that were new, if you're still on, I hope you enjoyed and that it all made sense, and that you'll be back. I'm going to shut off the recording for now because we don't need it.